I'm Gretchen Schoensten. I had a radio show on UMUC, that is the Maryland student station. And I got a call from a friend of mine whose YouTube account this is going to be on, because I don't have one and I don't really want one. And she said to me, she sent me an email, she said, I was talking to a friend of mine about maybe doing some voice work for a open project where they read audiobooks that are from public domain. And a friend of mine who was a fan of yours when you had the radio show sent me a message and said, you should tell Gretchen that she should record Mein Kampf. And so she sent me that email, and I said, you know, that sounds fantastic and all, fantastic and everything. But honestly, I don't have time. I was out in Germany and I was making Boom Boom Party Magen. And here I am now. I have nothing to do. I'm back in Maryland. Maryland. And it came back to me again. That maybe I should do this because anything for a fan. And Marty, you are a great fan. You called in. You sent us, you know, the messages and that sort of thing. So here, that is for you. And so it's Mein Kampf. I've only ever read a little bit of Mein Kampf for a course. And honestly, it's boring. It's extremely boring. So I'm only reading about a page and a half. Because it's terrible. And this is going to just be for you, Marty, and whoever else decides to watch this stupid video. And yeah, so here it is, Mein Kampf Volume 1, because this thing has 3 volumes. Chapter 1, it's 3 volumes and like 600 pages. My friend had a copy and she showed me once, and I was like, geez, who would ever read this whole thing? And she said, no one. And that was a very good response, because it's true. No one would want to read that piece of crap. So here it is, Mein Kampf, Chapter 1, in the Heim von my parents. Oh, also, I'm reading in English, because Marty doesn't speak German. And honestly, it would sound terrible. And I'm not making subtitles. Okay, here we go. It has turned out fortunate for me today that destiny appointed Braun on the Inn to be my birthplace. For the little town is situated just on the frontier between those two states, a reunion of which seems, at least to us of the younger generation, a task which we should devote our lives, and in the pursuit of which every possible means should be employed. German Austria must be restored to the great German motherland, and not indeed on any grounds of economic calculation whatsoever. No. Even if the union were a matter of economic indifference, and even if it were to be disadvantageous from the economic standpoint, still it ought to take place. People of the same blood should be in the same Reich. The German people will have no right to engage in colonial policy until they have brought all their children together in one state. When the territory of the Reich embraces all the Germans and finds itself unable to assure them a livelihood, only then can a moral right arise from the need of the people to acquire foreign territory. The plough is then the sword, and the tears of war will produce the daily bread for generations to come. And so this little frontier town appeared to me as a symbol of the great task. But in another regard also, it points to a lesson that is applicable to our day. Over 100 years ago, on this sequestered spot was the scene of a tragic German calamity, which affected the whole German history. At the time of our fatherland's deepest humiliation, and this just goes on to explain a really long and really boring German history lesson that, honestly, Marty, you probably don't care about it, and honestly, I don't care to recite it. It's stupid and pointless and, you know, in a very one-sided fashion. So let's just skip that part and go more into the emo Hitler bullshit. It was at this period of time that I first began to have ideals of my own. I spent a good deal of time scampering about in the open on the long road from school, 15 miles, uphill both ways in the driving snow, no shoes. From school and mixing with some of the roughest boys, which caused my mother many anxious moments. Now, see, if she had American logic, she would have sent him to live with his auntie and uncle in Brussels. But she didn't. So, we all know what happened. So, I gave scarcely any serious thought to the question of choosing a vocation in life, but I was certainly quite out of sympathy with the kind of career which my father had followed. I think that the inborn talent for speaking now began to develop and take shape, the more or less strenuous arguments which I used to have with my comrades. Very weirdly socialist there, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Comrades! I had become a juvenile ringleader who learned well and easily at school, but rather difficult to manage. So he was an asshole, and he was stupid, and he said it was easy, but he was a failure. So, you know, whatever. In my free time, I practiced singing in the choir of the monastery church at Lembach, and thus it happens that I was placed in a very favorable position to be emotionally impressed again and again by the magnificence and splendor of the ecclesiastical ceremony. And so here's another big chunk of him saying, I'm the best, I'm amazing, look at what I did when I was, 12. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the transitory yearning after such a vocation soon gave way to hopes that were better suited to my temperament. Browsing through my father's books, I chanced to come across some publications that dealt with military subjects. One of the publications was a popular history of Franco-German War of 1870 to 1871. It consisted of 2 volumes of an illustrated periodical dating from these years. These became my favorite reading. It's kind of like those weird people who reenact the Civil War here. These became my favorite reading. In a little while, that great and heroic conflict began to take first place in my mind, and from that time onwards, I became more and more enthusiastic about everything that was in any way connected with the war of military affairs. But this story of the Franco-German War had a special significance for me on other grounds also. For the first time, and yet only in quite a vague way, the question began to present itself. Is there a difference, and if there be, what is it, between the Germans who fought that war and the other Germans? Why did not Austria take part in it? Why did not my father and all the others fight in the struggle? Are we not the same as other Germans? Do we not all belong together? That was the first time that this problem began to agitate my small brain. Small brain. He admits it right here in his book. Nobody realized. From the replies of what were given to my questions, which I asked very tentatively, I was forced to accept the fact, though with a secret envy, that not all Germans had the good luck to belong to Bismarck's empire. This was something that I could not understand. It was decided that I should study. Considering my character as a whole, and especially my temperament, my father decided that the classical subjects studied at the Lyceum were not suited to my natural talents. He thought that the real schule would suit me better. My obvious talent for drawing confirmed him in that view. For, in his opinion, drawing was a subject too much neglected in the Austrian gymnasium. And so here on, it goes on forever and forever about his school experience and how fantastic he was at school and oh, I'm fantastic, look at me, I can do everything, blah, 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 and just more and more of that. So here, this is for you, Marty, dragging me out of my retirement to read something for you quickly, just a little bit, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you want me to read anything else, I'm more than willing to do so. just send a message to the person on this YouTube account. Leave it in the comments, send it in an email, whatever you want. And I suppose I'll read it. Anything at all. I'm not picky. I have nothing better to do with my time now that I don't have a radio show. So, Bum Bum Party machen immer Friends. Oh ja, bye bye.